Welcome to Now That's What I Call Gaming, everyone. I am GamerGod85, and I am going to be doing a review of not just one product, but two today. Today we're going to be checking out two of 8BitDo's products that I've gotten recently, and I've been meaning to review them, but I've been a little busy with a lot of other stuff, streaming, projects, work, school, things like that. But I've got some time, so I thought I'd throw together this video real quick. Make sure if you're new to the channel, you like and subscribe down below. So what I'm going to review today is the 8BitDo USB wireless adapter designed for the PlayStation Classic and the M30 controller for the Sega Genesis Mini. These are two great products. I'm very happy I got them. We're going to start with this one because I've been meaning to do this one for a while now and I haven't gotten to it. And then we're going to go on to this one. That one's going to be a little bit of a shorter thing because there's not really much to discuss on this, because unlike this is just a wireless adapter, so it doesn't really have any controller parts or anything to mention, so that should be a really easy to do review. But let's get to the M30 review. Okay, so here we have the M30 2.4g wireless gamepad from 8BitDo. Now, I've done a couple of reviews on some of their other controllers, and they've been very good, very faithful to the, classic consoles they've been working on. There we go. So they've been very faithful to the design of the classic counterparts. Now, this one is a little different. It's meant to work with both the Genesis Mini and the Nintendo Switch. Quite frankly, I'm not going to test it on the Switch because I didn't buy it for the Switch. I bought it for my Sega Genesis Mini, so very basic. They've never been the ones to really go crazy on their box art and show all kinds of stuff with it. So, this is pretty much what you get. What you see is what you get here. So let's go ahead and open this thing and get it out. Alright, so there's what it comes in. You get the underneath there. There's your charging cord. Just using your standard micro USB. You got your dongle. That's what you're going to plug into your Genesis Mini standard USB thing, which also means it'll work on your computer. But there are some issues with that. I'll get into that as I go into more detail. There's the controller. There's the instructions, obviously. There's your controller. It's a 6-button design. Actually, it's got multiple buttons. Like I said, you can play this. You're supposed to be able to play this on the Switch, so you need your L and R buttons. You got all these buttons here. You got your D-pad. Very clicky, very responsive feeling. Your mode button will be this one right here, the minus button. The star button has a function I'll get into when I do my review. This is, it's the 8BitDo symbol thing. That pretty much will get you back to your home menu without having to hold the start button. And of course, you got your start button. Like I say, very clicky, very responsive, very nice D-pad. Feels every bit as authentic. Now, normally I do a comparison, and I'll do that here. You see, that's the controller that came with the Genesis Mini. Very similar to what they did with the 6-button design, maybe a little more curvy. It's tough to compare these two, really, because 8BitDo really didn't, design this controller to mimic the other ones, like they did with the SNES and the NES Classic. They kind of went off and designed their own, which I personally think feels a lot more comfortable and a lot more enjoyable to hold. But of course, it doesn't matter how pretty the controller looks. If it doesn't play games, well, it's useless. So we're going to do a test of 4 different games. We're going to start off by testing Sonic the Hedgehog because everybody knows how that game should run and how it should look, so that'll be a good starter test. We're then going to go on and test Street Fighter 2 Special Championship Edition because as a fighting game, especially with a 6-button controller, you want your controls to be responsive, so if there's any lag, that should definitely show up. We're then going to test Precision Platforming with Mega Man The Wily Wars. And then we're going to finish up with Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine as a puzzler. We're going to test comfort, we're going to test features, we're going to test form factor, and we're going to test control. So with that all being said and done, I'm going to start off by playing each of these games with the standard controller that came with the system. So if you bought this system from anywhere other than North America, you probably have a different controller. But I'm going to use the 3-button standard controller that I got, and then I'm going to test it with the M30, and hopefully it'll be good both ways. So now let's get to the testing. Okay, so first up on the chopping block and the testing block, we're going to test Sonic the Hedgehog. This shouldn't take too long of a test because everybody knows how this game should run and how it should feel. So I'm using the standard 3-button controller for it. Now this is not going to be a review of the game because, you know, that is for a different thing altogether. This is just for a review of how to see how it controls. And I know for me personally, this is how I always played my Sega Genesis. I never actually got a 6-button controller because I never really got into the fighting games or anything. I was mostly into the platformers on the Genesis, so I didn't have a need for a 6-button. So of course I never got one. So to me, this just feels natural, feels, you know, exactly as I remember it growing up. Sometimes I can hit that, sometimes I can't. But yeah, this is exactly, you know, how it felt to play this game for me. And, you know, with the great emulation here, seems like this game's good. So now we're going to test it with the M30. Alright, so now let's try, like I said, we're going to try Sonic the Hedgehog with the M30. Controller-wise, it feels a little smaller on the hands, but for some people it might be a little comfortable. I mean, I'm liking how curved it is. Let's see. Button placement feels just spot on, feels good. I actually kind of like the feel of this controller. You know, it feels like I can play this game just like I always did. It definitely feels comfortable in the hands. It definitely seems like it's working out really well. Hey, I made that. I wonder if anyone's ever been able to get all of those. Or even been able to get up top there. Probably. I mean, they have to have a way to do it. Now, like I said, instead of having to hold the start button down for 3 seconds, you just press a single button and it'll get you to this. So that's definitely a plus. So as far as Sonic the Hedgehog goes, I'm going to say I like how the M30 handles it. I think it feels like a very good controller. Alright, next up for our test of with the regular controller, we're going to test Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. This is going to be a pain to do because with the 3-button controller, you only get, you know, you have to press start to switch between punching and kicking, so we'll do a match with Ryu here, as I used to always call him, right? I am by no means whatsoever a Street Fighter expert. As far as, you know, responsiveness of the controls, you know, I can occasionally, I mean, I'm not, like I say, I'm no expert, but I've definitely thrown my share of Hadoukens, which is my big test, so. And I lost, but that's just testing, you know, if I can throw the special controls or not. So now we're going to test this game with a proper 6-button configuration with the M30 and see how that works. Next, we're going to do our Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. I don't know why they put that. Well, I guess it's because it's in the title. I don't know why there's an apostrophe there, but whatever. We'll see how it works out. So now this is a 6-button configuration, so obviously, you know, it should work just like your 6-button controller does. Punches are up on top, kicks on the bottom. Hadouken, yay. And I just threw Chun-Li. I'm feeling like I have to be a little more deliberate with the controls to throw the Hadoukens. Maybe that's just because I'm not good at this game. Maybe someone who is good at this game. Hey, I at least beat Chun-Li this time, almost. I beat her. So yeah, I mean, it seems like that part works a little better. I mean, maybe if you're good at, you know, if you're big time into this game, then, you know, you'll have an easier time throwing Hadoukens than I am. But, you know, again, I've never been big into these kind of games. Fighters have never really been my thing, so, I mean, I dabble in them, but they've never really been my big thing, but I am finding that as I'm getting used to, you know, things, it seems like I'm able to throw it more often when I'm trying. Am I going to win any tournaments like this? Nope. Definitely not, but on the whole, I think definitely, especially considering in North America we didn't get the 6-button variant, so if you want to play this game, this specific type of game, then yeah, you're definitely going to want this controller for it. So next we're going to try out some precision platforming with Mega Man The Wily Wars. Obviously, you know, anyone who's a fan of the Nintendo series knows that this game is filled with precision jumping and precision platforming, so obviously this will be a good test of how well the M30 holds up to precision gaming. Obviously, I'm going to choose Mega Man 2, and I'm going to do Airman stage because his stage requires the most platform jumping. So we're going to give this a shot. And again, starting off with the regular 3-button controller before we go to the M30. I was so disappointed when I found out that this game existed and we've never gotten a copy of it yet. Now, this is not to reflect on how well I can play this game. It's merely testing the platform jumping capabilities. Like I said, you need the precision, like you can do that. You do little stutter steps. So I think we got enough to test of that to show how well this game tests. So now we're going to go on to testing it with the M30 and see how it holds up. Now we're going to go for the precision platforming with Mega Man The Wily Wars with the M30. And this is where a cool feature is going to come in, and that's going to involve that star button. And I'll go into that as soon as I get into the game here. So we're going to go right to Airman stage. Now, one thing I liked about the controllers that they made for the NES Classic is that they included turbo buttons, which for games like this, you know, really comes in handy. And I like how this controller feels on this. I really do. I mean, this feels comfortable. Like I could marathon this whole game with this controller easily. And it feels very good in the hands. It's very responsive. I mean, I'm able to precision jump easily here. But one of the features I wanted to point out was, and let me get off these clouds first. Well, I pressed the button, but I don't think I pressed it right. It's very responsive. Now, that star button I mentioned has a good functionality. Now, I normally have to press each button to fire, which, you know, for some games is good, some games is not. Sometimes you want a turbo button. Well, even though this doesn't have a turbo button, that star button turns buttons into turbo. All you gotta do is hold down the button you want to turn turbo and press star, and then all of a sudden, now it's a turbo button. So, and basically you can turn any of the buttons into turbo buttons besides the D-pad, which, you know, you never want to do anyway. But now, you know, it's a turbo button, so now it goes faster. This is gonna come in handy for some games where, you know, you press the B button a lot in this to shoot. You know, then you don't have to. Shooters, I'm sure there's other games, especially considering, you know, this system's probably gonna get modded. You're gonna want some games to have rapid fire abilities. Give you that little edge in those games. It's not really cheating. It's more of an edge that if you had bought a turbo, you know, function controller, you know, you'd have that. So, but this controller does have that ability. But like I said, you just have to hold the button you want a turbo, and then you press the star button. And then just to go back is just as easy. You hold the button down and press star, and turbo's off. So this is handling very well with the M30, and like I said, with that turbo button functionality, definitely makes it a lot, you know, there's definitely a bonus there for that. So, definitely liking the M30 for this game. And the last game we're going to test, like I said, is Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, because as a puzzler, you kind of need those pinpoint controls. You need your controller to work well, and if it doesn't, you're in a lot of trouble. So, obviously, this will be a great way to test it. Yes, I know this is just Puyo Puyo with Sonic the Hedgehog skin to it, but be honest, back in the day, no one in America would have bought this if it was just called Puyo Puyo. So, it's probably what they were thinking over at Sega. Seems like it controls pretty good. I mean, I'm able to get to the spots I need to get to. So it seems to be controlling well. No major glitches or... But again, this is with the actual controller that was bundled with this classic system, so you'd expect it to work. But at least this will give us a good baseline for how this game performs and how we can, what we can expect from what we should expect, I should say, from the M30, which so far has been really well. Whoop. So far, the M30, I think, has worked out extremely well. There we go. Take that. This game's actually really fun. I think it was... I never even heard about it growing up, and I'm kind of sorry I didn't. Whoop. Oh well. And with that, I think we're going to call that for the test. So now let's try it out with the M30 and see how we do. Last test for the M30 is Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. So let's see how this one works out with the controller. So far, I'm saying M30 for the win. I like it much better than the standard controller. I'll probably never use the pack-in controller again. That'll be my player 2 friend controller. Oh yeah, it is very responsive. It is like smooth. But yeah, I'm really impressed. This controller seems like it actually feels a little better. Like it's handling this a little better than the standard one. And I wasn't expecting that. Like I played a couple other games with it, and it seems to be seemed to handle just fine for those. But for this, it seems like it. I mean, it might just be because of how comfortable it is to hold in the hands, but I don't know, it just seems like it's handling just that little better, giving it that little advantage, which in a puzzle game like this can be important. So, definitely impressed with how it's handling this. Loving it too. I mean, if the controller just feels, I wish I could pass it to you and let you feel it out there, because it is just such a comfortable controller to hold. I mean, not that the standard one is any problems for me, because like I said, that's what I'm used to, but and I'm loving that I don't have to hold the start button to make it go to this screen. And so we've tested the M30 now with all those games, and what are my thoughts on it? It's a buy. Just like everything else 8BitDo has done, it is a definite 100% buy it, pick it up. It's definitely worth the 25 bucks. I will say, full disclosure, I did have a little problem when I first got it. And I tried to do this review at first. The controller wouldn't connect to the dongle. But I got in contact with 8BitDo, and they worked with me over the course of a couple of days. And they sent me firmware updates for the dongle, and we got it working again. We got it working finally, so I was able to finally test this out and bring you this review. So, not only a great controller, not only a great product, but great customer service from 8BitDo as well. So, do I recommend it? 100%, absolutely. You will not be disappointed. Now it's time to move on to our second review of the video, because yeah, you're getting a double feature tonight. And that's for this, the 8BitDo USB wireless adapter for the PS Classic Edition. Now I've already been playing with it, so I'm missing a part that came with it, and I'm missing the instructions, but it's actually really easy to do. I'll actually go over it with you real quick, but I'll just unbox it. See, I'm not even going to put it on the table because it's such a small thing to unbox. There it is. Now what I'm missing is it comes with, when you buy it, it has a cover for the USB stick, which just kind of continues the brick pattern. But I am missing that. It also has this, also has a sticker on it here, which tells you how to, how to do certain things. Like, for example, it tells me that how to enter it with a PS4 controller to get into pairing mode, how to, what the hotkey is, with the there's a reset button, accessing the in-game menu, things like that. So I mean, that's all in that as well. So what I paired it with is a spare PS4 controller I have, just because I feel like if I'm playing it on PlayStation Classic, I want a PS4 controller. So I'm going to plug it into the Classic, and we're going to just show how well it works out with the wireless controller. Alright, so I've got the dongle plugged in. We're not going to go into a complete review just like we did with the M30, just because there's really no need to. I'm just going to play a couple of games. Let's try some Castlevania Chronicles, see how that works out for us. Now, one thing you will notice, of course, you do have a mouse cursor there, but once you're in a game, all you gotta do is press share options and L1, R1, or whatever other button combination you need, depending on what you're using. And then it just disappears, but it only works in game, so. Start Castlevania. Since I'm not really playing, I'm just gonna just do that. Naturally, I just wanted to play it with, I just wanted to use a PS4 controller, but you could also use whatever controller you're comfortable with. Xbox One, you can use any other 8BitDo Bluetooth controllers that there are. Feels like it works pretty good. Do some things in here you can't do on the NES. This is an often overlooked game for the PlayStation, so I definitely made sure to have it on my Classic, because like I said, you can also pressing the PS button will bring you back. Now, of course, you can see the mouse pointer's back. So, like I said, you will have to do that with every game, that button combination. But it will work. Let's see, what should we try next here? I've got so many on this. This is my own personal build. I don't particularly go for, other builds, so. So I decided to keep the actual games on there.
let's see what else we can do here. I'm just trying to find a good game to do for you guys. Well, let's try Alien Trilogy out. Again, you just press that button combination and that pointer will go away. No problems. So, I mean, yeah, you can pretty much use whatever Bluetooth controller you want and whatever you're comfortable with. Now, it's important to note that this is not going to do anything like DualShock, so like you aren't going to get any DualShock abilities, you know, here, but you can still, like, if you press share triangle, you can still get your menu here. You know, you can. I don't know what any of this stuff does. But, I mean, you can still try to do stuff. I mean, you got these. These are all for, like, keyboards, though. So, I mean, you got that. Oh, let's see what happens if I do that. Okay, let's see how that works out. Like I said, I've never really tried much in the way of, you know, fumbling with it, but, you know, that's definitely something that maybe would make certain games like Ape Escape work. Let's get to something that actually gets you right into a game. So that we can actually test, and one that actually used some DualShock stuff, like Metal Gear Solid. Again, I gotta push that button combination. I really hope 8BitDo does something, could come out with a firmware that would just make that pointer not appear. That would be something great. Let me just see it, make sure everything still looks the same there. So it's obviously it's not going to give you any vibration controls, but just get to the game. Just get to the game. One thing that's weird is it seems like whatever you use, it does analog. It's not really analog, it doesn't feel like. It feels like what it is that, I don't know. See, I don't know what all these do. I'd have to play around with it a little bit, but basically it seems like
Snake, don't forget this.
But yeah, it seems like you can use it, but it's just left and right, whichever side you use, is basically mapped to a D-pad. So it's like you're using a D-pad no matter what way you go. So it's really just a matter of preference. Certain games you might want to have the analog sticks. Like Metal Gear Solid, I kind of like how it feels with the analog right now. I feel like I get more control over Snake than I do with the do with the, what's it called, with the D-pad. But it's at least an option. Whoop, back up. Almost got caught there. So yeah, I mean, this thing is definitely working out really good. Like I said, I just decided to use a PlayStation 4 controller just because it's a PlayStation system, so why not use a controller that actually was designed for PlayStation systems. But, you know, there are some people that are comfortable with an Xbox 360 controller. 8BitDo makes a bunch of other controllers that you might be comfortable with. So, realistically, you just use whatever you're comfortable with. The key thing is it connects, it works, and you can just pretty much use whatever you want with it. So, there's not really much else to say about it. I mean, it works and it does its job. So there you have it, the M30G wireless controller for the Sega Genesis Mini and a wireless USB dongle for the Sony PlayStation Classic. What do I think of these products? Again, 8BitDo really does a great job with their products. They're really comfortable, easy to use, easy to hold, and even if they don't work right away, their customer service is definitely impeccable and something I definitely do recommend. Yeah, if you want to go with something great, go with 8BitDo. They're really a good company, and they stand behind their products. And, I mean, link to them is in the description below. Again, if you'd like what you see, give me a like and subscribe to the channel. I also have a Twitch that I go on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, and I do streams there of different games, so definitely catch up on me there. Again, my links are right down in the description below. And if you like what you see, more of these videos will definitely be coming out soon, as soon as I get to making them, but I just wanted to share this with you and show you these two great products. Thank you so much for watching, and, you know, take care and game on. Later.